So this month, leading up to the release of the second Fantastic Beasts film, I'm reviewing all the movies in the Wizarding world. We're in week 3, and that means we're talking about Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So let's talk about it. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Before I give you my thoughts on it, be sure to tell me your thoughts on this one down below in the comment section. I know this one's very popular and a lot of people love this film, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on why. Also, once again, let me know the differences between the movie and the book, because once again, I have not read the Harry Potter books as of yet, and I'd love to hear kind of your little takes on what makes the book better in this instance, even though this is one of the more beloved of the films. With that said, let's get started talking about the good. And the thing that immediately makes this movie pop for me in a good way is the direction of Alfonso Cuarón. The way that he visualized things has much more of a auteur's take, of auteur's eye, a visionary's eye for things on how to just make them interesting and give them a visual flair. If you look at the first two films with Chris Columbus, he very much has this fun levity to the way he does things. They feel like family films, but there's also a side to them that, especially in the special effects shot, just kind of feels a little bit flat, a fairly straightforward way to visualize things. The shot choices and things like that just feel pretty straightforward. Not in any way to criticize him. That's some of the reasons that those movies work, is because that they are fairly straightforward family adventures. But now that the series is maturing and they're targeting a little bit older age with the stories, bringing in someone that kind of has this eye for things, and even just right from the get-go when they get on that bus and they start doing all these stretchy shots and stuff, and the way it's visualized is very interesting. And you can tell that this was a guy that had a lot of talent and went on to direct things like Gravity and has won all kinds of awards. And it makes a lot of sense given what he was able to bring to this series. Another thing I enjoyed about this film is it kind of continued what I liked about the previous film, which was a very clear mystery, a very clear villain as the film goes along, a person we're trying to avoid, and then as you go through the film, bit of a plot twist with person we thought was the villain, maybe not so much of a villain, someone else that we thought was something else turns out to be our actual villain in the story. And so it's a lot more focused as a film, and also as a correction over the previous film was pretty ridiculously long, very close to 3 hours long for a movie designed for families. And this film trimmed some of that length, focused the story so we kind of had much more streamlined storytelling, so you can engage with the story quite a bit more without a bunch of rabbit trails that kind of took you off focus. Along the same lines, the way the story's told, because things are much more streamlined, every kind of scene matters a little bit. Early in the film, we have Hagrid as this new teacher. This is really important for stuff that goes on in the third act of the film. Little details about what's going on with Hermione, how she's showing up to class. It's not overstated in the film, but then as you go through the story, you go, oh, now I know what's going on here. And these little kind of details, that's just a well-crafted script that very efficient in the way that every scene matters, every scene, every plot point has a payoff later on, so that everything ties together and matters. And of course, continuing the pattern of all of these movies, the casting for the adults is once again fantastic, bringing in Gary Oldman, of course, just an incredible screen presence, and an actor that just disappears into parts. Every character that he plays is so different from the other characters, and you see the character, you see Sirius Black, you're not seeing Commissioner Gordon, you're not seeing his character from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's an actor that's really great at his craft, and once again disappears into the Sirius Black, the Prisoner of Azkaban. And speaking of the maturing of the series that I touched on just a couple minutes ago, you bring things in the Dementors in, we explore Azkaban and the way rules and the way all of it works, and you just get a little bit creepier of a world, a little bit more scares in the mix without going too far down that path that just makes it feel more mature. But probably what I love most about this film is it is a time travel story as it goes into the third act, and I'm a sucker for time travel stories, just in general, but this one in particular does the Back to the Future 2 deal, where we start seeing a story that we saw before from a different perspective as they kind of change the details. We see what was really going on, and I just love that kind of stuff. I don't really even care too much about time travel rules. I just have a lot of fun with those types of stories, and you get that here, and I think it pays off well in the way they told the story, the way they crafted it, that it doesn't feel like they're cheating. It feels like it makes sense inside of this world. They teased it earlier with the stuff with Hermione, and so you just get a story that's a lot of fun. It's well crafted. It's told in a visually interesting fashion. It's a little bit more mature. We've got another great cast here, so a lot of great stuff is going on with this film. From there, let's move on to the bad, and honestly, I don't have any specific negatives on this one. There's like nothing, as I was watching, that was like, oh, this is a problem right here. The special effects have much improved from the first two films. Things are visualized and lit in a better way, so where there might have been weaker special effects, you don't notice it the way you did in kind of the well-lit Chris Columbus films. And so I'm not going to give a through the roof score on this one. It's not really even a matter of I had issues with it that just kind of knocked it down. It's more just a little bit my personal taste. It's a story that I enjoy. I was like, this is very well made, but it's not a story for me that the Harry Potter movies in general, I've talked about this, aren't ones that move me emotionally the way certain other stories do. They don't connect with me the way that Star Wars does. And so I can't go as high with my reviews, even though as I watch I was like, I really don't have any particular issues with this film. So with that said, I'd probably give this one a B+ and an 8 out of 10 on the entertainment scale. Like I said, Harry Potter's not the world that I've connected with the most, but this is a very enjoyable film that's put together very nicely. And I was sitting there talking with my wife trying to come up with negatives, and we honestly couldn't come up with anything. I'm sure she would go higher on this one because she actually loves this world. It is her realm. And if you like this video, be sure to check out that playlist to the left of my other reviews of the Harry Potter films, at least the ones I've done thus far.
Don't forget to push the like button down below. And don't push the disk button.
That's a good call. Don't push the disk button. Do click the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.